Hi, it's Ricky from Moshville Times here once again. I'm delighted to welcome Johnny Ray of the band The Mourning. You might also recognise him as the vocalist of the Three-Headed Snake as well. So, Johnny, nice to see you. How have you been since lockdown? Have you been lucky enough to still been working and everything?
Yeah, I was shut down. I'm in Florida. So as most people know, Florida is like the freest area in pretty much the entire United States. Just the not much lockdowns here and stuff, but we did have one around last March when things first happened. It was 6 weeks. I was shut down. But luckily after that, things have been pretty good. Business is fine and able to work and do well. So
Delighted to hear it. Everything okay with your friends and family?
yeah, I mean, there has been some deaths, and some people getting sick, some local, contemporary in the business that I'm in, passed a couple weeks ago. So that was kind of sad, but, yeah, but for the most part, everybody's doing good. People are, catching the virus, but are doing fine,
Yeah, with the hope of these vaccines now, everything's going to get back to normal in the near future, hopefully.
Hmm.
But listen, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about The Mourning. So one of the reasons for the interview today is that you've been working on your debut, The Mourning album. So how's that coming along?
It's coming along pretty well. It actually was completely finished, and we're talking mixed and mastered, and I just wasn't 100% with the mix and master.
Okay.
And because I had put in so much work into this album, I mean, we're talking, this started the end of 2018.
Yeah.
September 2018 is when I started working on this album. And because I had put in so much work into the album, I didn't want to release something that had a subpar mix.
Yeah.
Even if it's not bad, but it's not fitting for the amount of work and the amount of beauty that's on this album.
Yeah. So have you pretty much written new songs since the release of the EP then, Theosis in 2018?
Right, exactly. It's literally when I finished in the studio with Theosis, I started working on Hush, the new album.
Yeah. So obviously, did you have like plans to release the album much earlier in the year? Was it just?
I did.
Yeah.
I did, exactly. But unfortunately, like I said, I was unhappy with the mix. Yeah. So they're being remixed right now, remixed and mastered by my friend Alex Nosla, who is the keyboardist of Witherfall and part owner of Gear Gods. He's doing the mix and master right now. So let's hope by summer it'll be ready to go.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Summer should be a good
show.
A good date. Early summer, I would say, probably be released.
So that's cool. So you say like Florida's pretty relaxed then. So does that mean that you've had the opportunity for the band to meet and construct the new songs and things?
Well, that's kind of funny you ask, because the drummer who played on that album joined the Army over a year ago.
Okay.
So I haven't even seen him since he's been gone. He's all over the United States in the Army. So the bass player is also an excellent drummer. His name's Whittaker. He played bass on the album.
Okay.
He became our drummer, but he just moved to New York. So there is no local real band anymore. We have Brandon, who is our trombone player and backup bass vocalist. He's still here. Eliana is still here. She's the backup female vocalist. Andrew, the guitar player, is still here, but for the most part, we have not been meeting, just because there's really no point until we decide to start touring, because the album's done. There's no writing to be done right now. Kind of giving that a rest, trying to, because I do most of the writing myself. So I'm trying to, in between writing, I try to improve myself as a musician. So the next time I come back, it's a step better.
Yeah.
That's what I did for Theosis, into this. So I'm going to do it again.
So you say the album's written then, and it's just a case of mixing and mastering. Has the time away from writing, has it made you focus on the band more, like the business side of the band more, like keeping the
Well, yeah, that's what I've been really focusing on. As you know, Rachael Harrison, I've been in contact with her to try to get the ball rolling, to try to get some promo going and whatnot. So that way, you know, before the album comes out, there's a nice trail of, trail of crumbs leading to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So the last song that you released was a single, Hush. I think it was May last year that you released it. Personally, when I listen to it, there's obviously a lot of cross genres in there. I mean, I heard there's obviously the progressive rock and the metal in there as well, but there was also a wee bit of latterday Opeth in there, and maybe just a wee touch of Voivod. I just got it like, see, 30 seconds before the chorus. I just hear a wee bit of Voivod in there, but you must be desperate to get the new songs out there for the new people to let the people know that you guys are still alive.
Yeah, I really am. I can't wait to start releasing. I'm gonna actually start releasing singles. And actually what I plan on doing is a little bit different than what I planned on doing when I got all the songs. I was just gonna release the whole album. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna release it in 2 pieces. Because these days people don't seem to love albums the way that they used to. There's so much music out there, and I want to make sure that every one of these songs just gets the deserved listens. And you know, I think if I release it in 2 chunks, it'll be better for that reason.
It's interesting that you say that, because sometimes when I get an EP to review, you get like 4 songs and you're like, you just want that wee bit more. And you look at an album, it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it's just a case of like everybody's taste. But like you say, there's so much music out there. You can just be the one person in your bedroom and you can release an album these days with technology.
Yeah. Well, the reason I came up with this idea is I'm a big fan of Steven Wilson, and I was listening to one of his interviews. And he was talking about this exact thing, like he's not going to be releasing long albums anymore for the same reason. And it made so much sense to me. I'm like, yeah, that is a pretty good idea. I won't wait forever to release the second half, but I want to make sure people, you know, appreciate every song and give every song that its due listen.
Yeah, that's a fair comment, and it'll certainly be interesting to see how it all pans out, and obviously be sure to send it to us and we'll certainly review it and promote it as well. So we'll certainly do our bit as well. So what can you tell us about the new album? For those that are new to the band, how would you say it compares to the debut EP Theosis? And do you think you've found the sound that you've been looking for with the upcoming album? I did
get the sound I was looking for. I really did. Well, there's a lot to say about that. I mean, it still has the spirit of the EP in that there's a lot of different styles that kind of get fused together. It's like a fusion of different styles. So it has the same spirit as the EP. That's just kind of the spirit of the Mourning. But in the EP, it was mainly because I write all the music, okay? And in that EP, it was keyboard based, because that's how I write. I write on keyboard. I write all the guitar parts on keyboard. I write everything on keyboard. And that at that time, the guitar parts were just kind of basically like keyboard or guitar was kind of like a pad. It was like it wasn't a front instrument. Okay. And in the album, I told myself, I really want this to be, you know, guitar to be just as important as every other instrument in this album. So what I did was I imported my buddy Francesco Pinter, who is an amazing, he's probably the best guitarist I know. He's Berkeley trained. He's just absolutely amazing. He lives in Italy, and we actually flew him here for a month to help me write the guitar parts and do the guitar parts. And I wanted kind of that Polyphia style guitar work. So, you know, like that Strat, twangy guitar kind of, but still metal. And we really accomplished that. You know, so because he and I are both fans of that type of guitar work. I don't know if you know David Maxim Misic. He's a composer from Serbia. He does a lot of that. He's kind of the one who originated a lot of that. And then there's Jacob Zytecki, I believe his name is, had a lot of that style. Pliny, all those kind of guys. So we wanted to really have that kind of really virtuous guitar sound and amazing guitar solos, and we really accomplished that. It's fantastic guitar wise. It's fantastic instrumentation wise, drum wise, vocals. We really went the extra mile for every inch of this album.
Well, it certainly sounds incredible. Like, I'll probably be getting my air guitar out again. I'm probably the best air guitarist you're ever likely to meet. But you're obviously immensely proud of Theosis. But now that it's been out for a couple of years and looking back on it, would there be anything that you change about it? I know that you're still incredibly proud of the history and things like that, but
yeah, I would like I was saying, I would make it better guitar wise.
Yeah,
I would put more attention to the guitar. So that would, in fact, you gave me an idea. Maybe one day we'll go through and redo that album and just have like a redux of it, but with awesome guitars.
Yeah. So that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. So with the new songs in the album that's coming up, are some of the songs quite old already? Like, have you maybe like started a song in 2015, but you'd now just finished it last year or something?
Well, like I said, they started in September of 2018.
Yes,
that's when I started writing one of the ballads of the album. That's when I first started that. Yeah. So yeah, we're going on 3 years.
Yeah. That's cool. So see, the Mourning, is the Mourning an escape for you? Because you can't do what you want to do and maybe like Three-Headed Snake, for example, or any other projects that you're involved in. This is your band and you can play the music that you want to play.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, this is, everybody knows, and I'm extremely humble about it, but everybody knows, like, I write the music, but the way that I go about it is when it comes to guitar and stuff, I just basically, there's some riffs that I'm like dead set on.
Yeah.
But then there's other riffs I say, Francesco, just go through and make it yours, right? Play the spirit of the lick, but make it yours. And I did that all throughout the album. And I think that's why this album is so amazing, because every instrument was given that liberty.
Yeah.
Bass, guitar, drums, you name it. Every instrument was given that liberty to make it their own. And because of that, that's why this album is so kick-ass.
So every single band member just brought it to the plate. They upped their game.
Brought it to the plate. They made it theirs.
Yeah, absolutely.
They made it theirs. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely brilliant. So with yourself being the vocalist of the band then, do you do all the lyrics for the songs yourself, or do you welcome contributions from the other band members as well?
I welcome contributions from other members. In fact, Brandon and Eliana, Brandon had written lyrics to entire songs.
Yeah.
And Eliana did some lyric writing too, from what I remember.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I would say I'm 80% of the lyrics, I would say.
Yeah. It must be a major headache for the rest of the band that they have somebody that concentrates so much on the lyrics, because it's certainly a talent and it's certainly something that I could never do. So kudos to you for doing that. So with the album then, you're planning on releasing singles. Are you going to release like videos to coincide with these singles?
Yeah, I actually have a video that's been done since mid 2019. There's a song we wrote because my family and we love to travel to the Blue Ridge Mountains in Georgia.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote the song while in Georgia.
Yeah.
And we went up there as a band and filmed us in the mountains, playing the instruments in the mountains and stuff. And it's our ode to the mountains. So it's a pretty cool song. And yeah, that will be one of our first releases. Because I'm dying to get that out.
Well, hopefully in the very near future we'll be able to get out. So
the song is in the middle of being mixed right now. So should be one of the first things we release. I'm hoping May.
Yeah,
would be a good time to put that out.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So things seem to be fairly settled in the band members front with the Mourning then. So when constructing new material, I know that you primarily write some of it, but with the band members having their own personal taste in music, how would you say you keep it all together, for example, when negotiating what stays in and what goes out of a song?
Well, I think we all kind of have very similar tastes. I don't think there's much of an issue with that. I think we all have very similar tastes and very similar music that we like. And you know, like Lauren, the current drummer, not the Army guy, the other guy, the New York guy. He has a very he's into a lot of EDM, and he loves Boards of Canada and stuff like that, very atmospheric kind of stuff. So that really does color a lot of what he does. He played bass on the album. His approach is very Meshuggah, that kind of stuff. So it adds a nice rhythm element. And in the future material, when we work together, there'll be definitely a lot of his atmospheric touch. He loves Steven Wilson too. So, but again, like we all have pretty similar tastes. So it meshes together pretty nicely.
It certainly sounds like when you're in the studio, there's no fisticuffs and there's no blood on the walls or anything like that. It seems to be like you're all on the same level and you're all just...
Nah, we're all buds.
Yeah.
We're buds.
That's great to hear it. So where do you actually rehearse and where do you record your songs then?
We recorded at Fox Bloom Recordings in Newport Richey, Florida. And we were rehearsing, the drummer who went to the Army, his family owns Players School of Music in Nellis Park, Florida, who's actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jeff Berlin.
No.
But he's a famous bass player. You could look him up, but that's his dad, and he had started that music school. So it's a pretty prestigious lineage. Yeah, so he played with some, I think he played with Yes, his dad, and I think I want to say he played with some really well-known jazz guys too. I can't remember the names, but anyway, that's where we were practicing at his school.
Yeah. So when times were normal then, how often were you able to get together?
We got together every week.
Yeah, once a week, yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I take it when you had live shows and things like that, you were able to get together a hell of a lot more?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. We in fact, I just had a memory pop up. We did a show with the Three Tremors a year ago today.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who they are, but that's Ripper Owens, and then I can't remember the other two vocalists that are in it, but there's basically three like power metal vocalists in this band, and that we opened for them in Ybor, Florida, a year ago today.
Yeah. Well, talking of live shows, there's obviously not going to be anything in the next couple of months or anything like that. But have you started to look towards the end of the year? Have you got any plans for the end of the year?
Oh yeah, Rachael and I are making some plans. Hopefully things open up over there, and I'll be able to do some stuff in Europe or UK. That's really the plan, is to tour there first.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
How are things like in America for like shows? I mean,
Florida, you can play shows, no problem. Texas just opened up. A couple other states just opened up. It's looking like California's starting to open up. New York's opening up. So it's starting to look like a tour would be possible in the United States as well.
Yeah, they've cancelled a lot of festivals here for the summer. And what they have said is that you might be able to play the smaller gigs, but with a limited capacity. So, but then again, if the vaccine rolls out as quickly as it is, then everything will be fine. You know,
exactly.
That's the aim. That's the aim. I think we're all going to be like spoiled for choice. Like Glasgow, where I'm from, there's like 4 rock clubs like within 100 yards of each other, and I think there's going to be gigs on every single night. And people are just dying to get out. So I think when it comes to like bands coming over to play, I think the crowds are going to be bigger than what they can be.
Oh yeah.
So
people are dying to get out there and see music.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you know, there's such a mental illness problem right now because people have no escapes, no nothing. It's really a shame.
Mental, mental health is actually huge at the moment. It's constantly being talked about in the government over here.
Yeah.
They're obviously putting extra resources in.
Well, it's basically innocent people on house arrest for an indeterminate amount of time. You don't even have they're not like, oh, you get out of jail this date. No, you don't get to know that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yep. Thank you very much for that, Johnny. So, like we've just been talking about then, you've been signed to the growing Enso Music Management. So how did that come about, and how's the relationship been so far, and what do you hope Enso will be able to do for the Mourning?
Oh, well, I met Rachael because my guitar player in Three-Headed Snake, Sin Quirin, he's also a guitarist in Ministry.
Yeah.
He knew her through Ministry, and he had obtained her help to get us into the Bloodstock when we played Bloodstock in UK in 2019.
Yeah.
And I just remained friends with Rachael, and when the album was about ready, I talked to her about maybe doing some management, and so that's kind of how it came together. The relationship has been awesome. Rachael and I are buds, so it's super nice. She's super professional.
Yeah.
She obviously knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy with the interaction, and I'm sure I will be in the future as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. I've known Rachael for a couple of years, and I can only say good things about her. I haven't met her in person yet, but there is a festival actually in October, which I'm hoping to meet her at. So it'll be good to put a face to the name.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's a pleasure to be around. So you'll have a good time.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. So I may be showing my age a wee bit here, but before the internet, magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that some of the passion has been lost, or do you think that the internet has been a good thing for music and a good thing for the Mourning?
Oh, I mean, in the old days, things were a lot more simple. If you were a decent band, you'd meet some person and they would bring you to stardom. These days you have to work a lot harder for it, and there's a lot more competition, like you're saying, with all the publications. But I still think the spirit of music is very much alive. I kind of like the DIY aspect of it.
Yeah.
I still think I still think it's great. I still think the love for it is still there. Let me look at all those albums behind you,
That's what I was going to come on to. I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, back in the day, as you say, there was nothing better than sending like a couple of pounds away or a couple of dollars in your country, and then a couple of days later you would get a demo tape, and you would open up the envelope and flyers would come out and things like that, stickers and things, and you get a letter from the band. You would listen to the tape and you go, I don't know if I like that. But because you've invested in it, you would listen to it again and make your mind up then. Now you can go on somewhere, a streaming website, listen to a song for 10 seconds. Oh, no, that's rubbish. And move on to the next band, because there's like 1,000,001 other bands doing it now. So sometimes it's too dismissive.
It can be. Yeah, it can be dismissive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you an idea. Like, I'm a big System of a Down fan. I mean, I started listening to them when I was 16, 17, something like that. When I first got my hands on Toxicity, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
But I kept it in the CD player and I heard it a few more times, and now it's like one of my favorite albums of all time, But that dismissive attitude is, I guess it's easier to be dismissive now, like you say, but I think it's always kind of been there too. At least it has been for me. Like I said, when I first heard it, I was like, what is this? Now I love it because I gave it a chance and I listened to it. So
I was the same. Just to show you how old I was, a friend, I just talked about this the other day actually. A friend gave me a tape and it was Iron Maiden, Number the Beast. And I listened to it and I went, this is absolute rotten. absolutely rotten. How could you like this? You know, and he said, listen to it again. And then it was like Run to the Hills. And I was like, this is brilliant. And it just went on from there. But I came of an age where it was like tapes and vinyl and CDs should be burned, you know, but it's the sign of the times now. It just keeps on progressing. So the internet's the future, the way it looks, you know. So yeah. So what's next for the Mourning then? It's just a case of getting the mixing and the mastering done and getting the album out there.
Yeah, well, what's next for the Mourning? You can expect the album to be released early summer. Well, half the album, like I was saying, to be released early summer. You can expect a single or two before then. And as soon as things open up in the world, you can expect to see us in UK, Europe, different areas in the United States. You can expect us to be out there and playing. So that's the plan.
We're certainly looking forward to it, but obviously an interview for Moshville Times, but I'm also involved in a podcast. I've got colleagues that are involved in radio stations as well, UK and America. So certainly we'll do our stuff to promote it. So
wow, thank you.
Really looking forward to hearing it. So just as a wee sidetrack, just a couple of wee extra questions. So you also do vocal coaching for vocalists that want to go from good to great singers. So how's this business venture going for you at the moment?
Really good. You know, when the virus first happened, I was knocked down to like 2 students. You know, nobody knew what to do, and everybody was out of work. But I'm up to 10 or 12 singers I'm working with now. So it's going really good. I actually teach in person at a little music school in Newport Richey called Enso Music.
Yeah.
So that's going really well. I love teaching there. I love the staff there. So that's awesome. I teach a couple guys online. So yeah, it's going really well. I have no complaints, and it's doing well.
That's what I was going to say. Again, you're fortunate enough to be able to meet your clients face to face with the majority of them and not have to adapt to something like this, although this is an extra tool that you can have. But no, it's cool to see that you can still maintain that contact, because I definitely think the best way to learn is face to face.
Oh yeah, I much rather teach. Although I will tell you, I was very skeptical about teaching over computer. But I had a lesson last week that really changed my mind on that. Where I had a guy that has been singing for a long time. He's 50, and he never took a lesson before. Right. And I was able to open his eyes to so many techniques that he hadn't thought about before. And he lives in Portland, Oregon, and I live here in Florida. So I think there's really nothing wrong with, you know, kind of Zoom lessons or what have you.
Yeah.
I think people can learn a lot and do really, really well. So yeah, I think I will be taking more students that way too.
Yeah. So do you also take absolute beginners?
It depends. Absolute beginners that have a decent idea of pitch.
Yeah.
Yes. People who are tone deaf, it's really tough. What I usually do is I tell them to work on what's called ear training and get themselves to the point where they can hear and sing pitch. Once somebody has pitch, I can really work with them a lot. But it just takes so much time to get somebody from tone deaf to not tone deaf.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that rules me out then. I mean, I grew up with the clean vocals like Sebastian Bach and Bruce Dickinson and Michael Kiske of Halloween. But I've just got progressively heavier. So even death metal girls, for example, is still a highly talented form of vocals.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where I started. I started doing that. That was my first venture into singing in bands. Was a mix of death metal and a little bit of clean singing.
Yeah. I mean, I just last week I interviewed Dan Swano of Unisound, and he's saying that he can't growl anymore. He hasn't growled for like 5 or 10 years because it gives him constant headaches because he doesn't continually do it. So you have to continually. how often do you train, for example? Because you've not been with the band as often as you would like. So how do you keep your vocals fresh?
Well, funny enough, one of the things I do is there's a little place around here. I usually go once a week to sing some karaoke. It's a really awesome little bar, and a lot of really good singers come, like really good, blow your mind vocalists show up to this place. And so once a week I go sing there. I do, well, I don't know if you know what vocalizing is, but basically take the word vocal and take the word exercise, and it's vocalize. So we, I have a whole bunch of different vocalizations that I do to warm up and to train my voice. But I will say, teaching really has its benefits because, I'm doing that vocalizing along with my students. So I train all the time because of that. So I'm really keeping my voice in tip-top shape doing that.
Yeah. You're probably singing in the car and singing in the shower as well. So
depends. Yep.
Keeping it fresh. I'd imagine you also take your business cards with you to the karaoke bar saying, I think you need some training.
I'm not as good at that as you would think. I have cards sitting on my desk and I'm like, I need to bring those with me, and I never do.
That's it.
I just want to go have fun, really.
That's excellent. You've got to take some time out and just take some time out for yourself and just do the hobby that you love doing. So excellent. I've just got one last question for you then. It's to do with Three-Headed Snake. So I was delighted to see that they were signed to Cleopatra Records.
Yes, we were.
That must mean that you've got new music as well in store for us.
We do.
As well. So what's happening?
We do. So Cleopatra signed, they signed us for an EP that we had already released. They're re-releasing it under their moniker.
Yeah.
And a single that we just finished called Tyrants. So that's getting released. And future music is going to be all most likely released through them. We have a video coming out for Tyrants. So we, I was actually supposed to go there to film the video, but there was some delays. But we're actually, instead of doing a performance video, we're doing a video with an actress that kind of really well portrays the spirit of the song. So it's still coming out nonetheless. And then we have a whole album worth of material that we're slowly recording. So that's all coming together. And I also have another project with that gentleman I mentioned earlier, Alex Nosla from Witherfall and Gear Gods. He and I have a project together called Escapement. And you can look out for that to be released within the next couple of weeks. We actually have a promotions company working on it right now. We're releasing a video, and then there'll be 2 more videos released after that. Probably one summer, one fall, something like that. So that's another really awesome project. That's more of like a Nevermore-ish, vocal-wise Nevermore-ish, with a modern metal sound. So that's another really cool thing you can look out for.
So going back to Three-Headed Snake for a wee second there. You talked about the EP. I think the EP a couple of years old itself.
Yes, it is.
So are you getting a chance? Are you getting the opportunity to re-record it, or are you just going to release it as is?
No, we're releasing it as is. Yeah. I was surprised that they did it, but they wanted to re-release it. Usually, from what I've heard in the past, once you release it, a record company won't take it, but they still did.
So you're a pretty busy boy then. You've got the Mourning, you've got Three-Headed Snake, and now you've got Escapement as well. So you must wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning with a riff or something like that,
Well, I stay pretty tired, and I wonder why.
Well, listen, Johnny.
I drink my tea.
That's it. Well, listen, Johnny, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I wish you all the best. And certainly, like I say, you've got my contact details now. So anything new that is about to be released, you know where to send it. And we'll certainly, certainly looking forward to hear everything that you've got to do. And maybe one day now, remember, Scotland is just above England in the UK.
We got to go there too. Yes,
exactly. There'll be a wee drama whiskey.
Don't worry. I'll tell Rachael, make sure Scotland gets covered.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Thanks very much, Johnny, and best of luck.
Likewise. Thank you.
Cheers.